I Think You Should Leave is one of the funniest shows on television right now, with an incredibly unique brand of comedy it brings to the table. However, comedy gold like this doesn't just magically appear. So let's peel back the layers of all the different ingredients that came together to create such a zany show that has more heart to it than you might think. To kick things off, let's take a look at Tim Robinson. Robinson was drawn to improv after seeing a performance of Second City Chicago, which led to him joining the Detroit branch. Second City is an incredibly well-known comedy group with an illustrious alumni list that features the likes of Dan Aykroyd, Mike Myers, Steve Carell, Tina Fey, Jordan Peele, Keegan-Michael Key, and a slew of tons of others. Robinson eventually became an improv comedy teacher briefly, which is where he met Sam Richardson as one of his students.
Oh yeah, we became fast friends pretty quick. I was like 18.
Yeah,
19.
I was 21 and Sam was like 18. So
Wow.
I would like sneak him into the bar too. Yeah. I would just walk in and be like, yeah, we're both old guys.
We're both adults. Here we go.
But more on him later. In 2011, Tim Robinson developed his first comedy pilot, My Man's, which, while a little rough around the edges, showed a ton of promise despite not being picked up by any studios.
What are you doing?
What do you mean?
Are you mocking me?
No, what I mean mocking.
Well, you keep looking out and doing that thing with your eyebrows.
Oh, I'm not looking out and doing that thing with my eyebrows.
Do it again. Dude, what? Man, I don't need this.
So much promise that Robinson joined SNL the year after as a performer. Robinson joins SNL during what many consider their modern golden era, with the likes of Sandberg, Hader, Wig, Myers, McKinnon, Thompson, Armisen, Sudeikis. On the list of performers, it's easy to see how hard it would be to stand out with so many already established stars on the show. A year later, Robinson is moved from performer to writer, something that only had happened once prior in SNL's entire run. Something Robinson cited was not his decision. It wasn't my choice. At the time, I was angry and frustrated. And then, now I feel okay about it. Because I think becoming a writer at the show made me feel less stressed out, and I felt less pressure. Personally, as someone watching SNL at the time, the sketches where he was a featured actor were a bit jarring. But watching them back in hindsight, many of them are pretty funny now that I've seen the full Tim Robinson experience. Maybe he was just ahead of his time in pioneering a specific brand of comedy, or maybe 3 seasons of I Think You Should Leave has infected my brain so much to the point of thinking the Z-shirt sketch is a little funny.
Oh, wait, I'm confused. Is that an A shirt?
Absolutely not.
Is it a B shirt?
Not even close.
3 years later, Tim Robinson and Zack Cannon leave SNL. Who's Zack Cannon, you ask? Well, welcome our second main player. Zack Cannon has a pretty different background getting to SNL, an alumni for the Harvard Lampoon and working as a cartoonist for the New Yorker. In 2011, he joins SNL and later forms a partnership with Tim Robinson once they were both writers at the same time. In that same interview with the New Yorker, Cannon and Robinson mentioned difficulties of getting a sketch picked on air. There's a specific way of writing for SNL the show rather than your own brand of comedy. After leaving SNL, Robinson, Cannon, and Tim's good buddy Sam Richardson come together on a show called Detroiters, in which Tim and Sam work at an ad agency making commercials for local businesses. It's important to mention that while Tim was off in the Big Apple, Richardson wasn't twiddling his thumbs. No, he went to La La Land to star in tons of movies and TV shows like The Office, We're the Millers, and his first main role in Veep. Richardson is an actor that I really like. He's a super charming lead, so much so that it lifts a lot of projects he's attached to. This is complete speculation, but based on projects Richardson has been a part of outside of I Think You Should Leave, it feels like his style of comedy is a little different than the more out there comedic sensibilities of something like My Man's. I only mention this to say Detroiters has a lot of charm to it. The real-life friends play best buddies on the show as well, and a lot of the interactions are just them being good friends. Which isn't bad in the show, but the part that really shines is anytime they do the commercials for the local Detroit businesses.
This is the Tigers and Red Wings of mine. It's April in the D. 3 Detroit sports teams playing at one time. All Detroit ladies looking.
Detroiters was ostensibly a test launch for many types of sketches that we would later see in I Think You Should Leave. To paint a picture, Detroiters is like buying a milk carton in the store with the farmer being the plot that squeezes out the hilarious sketches, but I Think You Should Leave brought you straight to the source, letting you go right in there and squeeze its metaphorical sketch comedy udder. I can't believe I'm having to say this, but please don't drink raw milk. I brought up those three, but there were plenty of other people that had a hand involved in some way in making this incredible show. The Lonely Island Trio, Connor O'Malley, Patty Harrison, Jason Sudeikis, Tim Heidecker. There's so many different pieces of the pie, and it's tons of fun to go back and figure out where people found each other along the way. I guess my point in bringing this up is originally when I started writing this video, it was going to be crediting Tim Robinson with an autorial level influence, and while I think he's super integral, there's plenty of other comedic geniuses to shine a light on too.
I didn't do fucking shit!
But enough dilly-dallying. What's so great about I Think You Should Leave? I could go on endlessly on the absurdist laugh-out-loud sketches from Brian's hat to the zip line. There's so many different ways this team writes incredibly embarrassing situations that make me chuckle. Aside from it being funny, there's plenty of other things to take away from the series. There's this great video by Striker Star 19 on the show as an autistic text, Sarah Silverman seeing it as portraying toxic masculinity, and me in this very video on how I Think You Should Leave eloquently delivers moments that resonate with the human experience. It's small in many of the sketches, like Ghost Tour for example. It's ridiculous humor, but there's something charming about the added scene the sketch ends with after Robinson gets kicked out of the haunted house tour. There's something endearing showing that this absolute menace goes home to his mom in the car, and maybe she just wanted him to make friends at an adults-only haunted house. Another more overt example of sincerity is the sketch Friday Night. While the sketch starts and continues into the song with more ridiculousness, there's something lovable about this performance at a funeral ending with "I love you, Mom." Who wouldn't want to root for this guy after this? It's not great singing, but you feel like this person is pouring his heart into this performance, weirdly enough. But the piece de resistance that elevates the show from incredibly funny to something I deeply resonate with was the sketch Baby Cries, in which a baby cries when Tim Robinson holds him, implying that
Pride just doesn't like me because I used to be a piece of shit.
The sketch later evolves into a great question of if people are capable of change, transcending into the yesteryears of slick back hair, sloppy steaks, and dangerous nights. I saw this for the first time around when I became a father, and in a complete overreading of a 5-minute sketch, it floored me. My kid will never know the full person I was before becoming a parent, the absolute tomfoolery me and my friends were getting into all the time, in the same way I didn't even fathom my parents in these types of moments before I was born. There's something about this sketch so deeply tied to the human experience that feels profound. And if you'll allow my blatant overanalysis once more, the last scene we see is the baby at the beach locking eyes with the slick back hair, implying an acceptance of our youth, of the person you were before they knew you as existing. It's a comforting feeling. So here's to everyone in their dangerous nights, whether right now or used to be. Later, haters.